President of the US Middle East Project, Daniel Levy, joins me now. Daniel, appreciate you being with us. Let's just so many threads for us to talk about. Let's talk first of all about this decision from President Biden that came just late last night. You know, President Biden made it clear that an assault on Rafah would be a red line. Now he's put a pause on these weapon shipments. There's talk potentially that they may consider others. Is this, in your view, is just a tactic, a pressure campaign, or is this a policy shift?
First, it, of course, begs the question, why were those 2,000-pound bombs? Why was that kind of munition being sent months after the International Court of Justice, the highest court in the world, made its designation, provisional measures, plausible contraventions of the Genocide Convention? Did the president just acknowledge war crimes are being committed last night? Did he just acknowledge that you need an arms embargo to stop this? But the important thing, if one steps back from that, is that the president set out this position. Not all arms, some of the arms. The question now is, because this was never going to be about, you click your finger and Netanyahu says, oh, OK, you've got me. I step back now. The question is, can President Biden sustain a standoff with the Israeli Prime Minister?
That's how you see it going?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not at all sure that's the case. But it's a bit of a strange question in the first place, Issa, because America's the superpower here, right?
Yeah.
But the way I'm questioning is, can Biden sustain this standoff? I don't think Prime Minister Netanyahu has ever seen the relationship that way. And I think Prime Minister Netanyahu, we've seen this over the last 24 hours since the CNN interview, has been saying, I'm going to test you. I'm going to set my attack dogs on you. We've seen a flow of criticism of the president. He cornered himself, President Biden, with the way he's handled this, by the way, before October the 7th, the way the administration handled this file, since October the 7th. Now, if he pulls back, he will look weak, even weaker.
And given what we've just heard, some of the comments from some of the more, far-right members of Netanyahu's party, it doesn't seem that, it seems to me that Biden will be, Netanyahu, will be under pressure to see it through, right? So in these war cabinet meetings, the conversation may be along those lines. How far do we push it until the US actually detaches? Talk to that pressure, because we also have these negotiations that were ongoing. There now seem to be pause. How do you frame this all? Are those negotiations over now, you think? They're talking about a pause.
So you have the domestic situation inside Israel.
Yeah.
You have Netanyahu saying, what threatens me more? My domestic politics? Because I want this war to continue. That's part of my staying in power ticket. The domestic politics or the external pressure? If the external pressure cannot be sustained, then he defaults to where he's been all along. Sustaining that may well take several weeks. But if you want to get the deal, now linking it to the news we had at the weekend, Hamas accepting a proposal that would see the hostages, let's not forget that's the only way those who are still alive are going to get out.
Netanyahu,
And Netanyahu made clear that he's going to do Rafah. There is room in a deal for some ambiguity. But if one party is determined to quite literally drive a tank through the ambiguity, then you can't sustain it. And this is what Netanyahu seems ready to do. By the way, Biden has the backing of the American public. Polls show...
We've seen those polls just yesterday on this show.
The majority want a ceasefire. Now the majority don't want the weapons. There's a poll by Data for Progress and Zateo, which shows 39 to 38, they think a genocide is being committed, 56 to 42 amongst Democrats. He is not going to look good if he now caves to
And you're
Netanyahu.
talking about the domestic pressures, and I just want to show if we can bring up some of the editorials across some of the newspapers in Israel that I think speaks to that. As you can see, betrayal of allies, US pauses munitions from one old new to another. Bibi, it's time for you to go. So, variation here. You say, Daniel, that Biden has now cornered himself. What does he have? What leverage does the United States have right now? If Netanyahu does go for a full-scale, really, operation of Gaza, what's left for Biden here? What leverage does he have?
I would argue that President Biden has started to manoeuvre himself out of the corner that he placed himself in pre-October 7th, since October 7th, with this actual threat, this actual withholding of some of the weapons. he is going to have to keep that going if he wants.
But if that doesn't move the needle, then what?
No, I would argue that if it's sustained, it moves the needle. Why does it move the needle? Today you hear the Israelis saying, we've got the weapons for Rafah. That doesn't hold. If this carries on, then you see people in the security establishment saying, Mr. Prime Minister, there's Hezbollah in the north. This isn't the only thing we're dealing with. We would not have been able to fight this war without American weapons. And if this is a serious threat, Mr. Prime Minister, we have to tell you there's a problem here. That shifts the public dynamics. That shifts some of the internal political dynamics. It's not simple. But then Netanyahu's calculation looks different. But it's not an overnight thing. That's why the American president will need to sustain this, or we will see Rafah suffer the same consequences everywhere else in Gaza. More children dead, more people dead, more devastation.
One word, very quickly. US-Israel relations. Where does this lead?
I think this shows that you have an Israel that is ready to place the US in an impossible situation, to continue to play domestic politics. And I think what you have today that is new is a real division inside US public opinion and inside the Jewish community, because many people were very upset when the president has come out and said anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Jews have never been a monolith, and certainly not today.
Daniel, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.